Okay. Sweet. So basically, guys, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be questing on this guy. And I'm going to be reading the story of all the zones that we can get through. My goal is to get Lore Master on this guy. So, we're going to try to do as many quests as we can. We're going to first talk to Ithilane here. Greetings, Halvphas. I am Ithilane. My purpose in Shadowglen is to train young rogues like you to ensure that they have the balance of nature is maintained. The spring rains have particularly been heavy this year, causing some of the forest beasts to flourish while others suffered. Unfortunately, the Night Saber numbers have grown too large, and they will devastate the other populations if not culled. Journey forth, young rogue, and thin the saber population so that nature's harmony can be preserved. Yes, we're going to accept it. So this add-on that you see popping up is actually called the Storyline add-on. And its purpose is to give you more of an in-depth feel to the story and make the story kind of, speak out to you more when you're doing quests. Now, the whole purpose of doing this is A, to get to know the lore of the story, and B, just to change it up. I mean, I can level super fast through dungeons. You can do PvP for dungeons, or PvP or dungeons. You can get runs. Basically, this is just to chill out, relax, have a couple hours of streaming, and enjoy some of the story. You performed your duties well, Halvphas. We get to take things. You seem to know what you're doing. Perhaps I can task you with something a little more important. As you well know, the corruption of Teldrassil was supposedly wiped away. Yet, something lingers. The creatures have not calmed, and the manner of problems still plague us. I need you to deal with the Grelkin that have gathered west. When you are there, I want you to search them for Felmoss, and will help me determine if they're continuing the corruption. From there, if this is where the continuing corruption stems. Another good thing about it is I might be able to learn how to speak. And the other thing we're going to talk to is Malothair Staghelm. Now, he has no relation to Fandrel. Well, he is a relation to Fandrel Staghelm. However, he does not hold the want to murder every single night elf. That being said, we don't know what relation Malothair is. No one's ever asked, no one's ever told us. We can only assume that he might be a distant relative or maybe an unnamed brother. Vicious little Grell. They've been stealing from our food stores again. If you wouldn't mind lending a hand, I'm sure that they have stolen my bags within their camps to the west. I'd be glad to reward you if you could come back to me with them. Sure. I gotta go up there and kill a bunch anyway. A young rogue's life is so very, very complex. So, all of these Grelkin waiting to be slaughtered. So, reason I wanted to make Rogue is A, in preparation for playing a Demon Hunter, getting to know the lore, and we can actually have a look in some of the areas that have given us hints towards the Demon Hunters that they were going to be a thing for quite a while now. Fun fact, the other day, I didn't even know, but in the original box art for World of Warcraft, they actually had they had advertised that Demon Hunter was in the game. There was a Demon Hunter in the game. There was a group of player characters who, one of them was actually a Demon Hunter. He was wielding glaives and he was wearing the leather armor. Unfortunately, he was never put in, nor was there ever a weapon in the game that looked very similar to the glaives that were in that Night Elf's hands. We'll just slaughter some broken. Finish off our level. And the other thing, and this is going to bother people, it bothers me, but I got to do it. If we out-level a zone, we're just going to continue right on through it. Because the whole purpose of this thing is to get the story of the zone and, you know, kind of just, you know, figure out what the zone's story is and if there's any hints or any, you know, hidden facts that we might not know about. So you're going to probably see me in zones which I am going to be out-leveled. I don't have any spare supplies for my customers until my stolen bags have been recovered. Have you had any luck? Yes, I have. Elune be praised, and you as well, young rogue. There are many young night elves in need of these, but I'd be more than happy to give you one of the bags as a reward. I'm sure it will come in handy. Yeah, and then we end up getting a supply bag. Nice to have some bag space. I neglected to send any netherweave bags over. Satisfy my suspicions, Halvphas. Bring to me Halvphas from the broken. I have. Your service to the creatures of Shadowglen is worthy of reward, Halvphas. You've confirmed my fears, however. The Grelkins have been tainted by Halvphas, despite Teldrassil's blessing. Something sinister still remains within the area. I can only hope that Gnarlpine tribe of Thrallbogs are free from the corruption, or we are still in grave danger. I have to look into this further and contact those who might be of aid. Thank you, Rogue. None of those are actually any good, but we'll just take that for... this sigil was given to me by a messenger from your rogue trainer, Fruhan. It seems Fruhan would have words with you when you have a moment. Read it, and then bring it to him afterwards. Sure thing. Other opportunity in this series is to read some stuff. So I've never ever read any of the like encrypted sigils or anything like that. So Selara, friend, I hope the sigil finds you well. I was asked to offer you my services. I am here in Shadowglen in the great tree of Eldrassil, but I wanted you to know that if you need any training, that you could seek me out. In these questionable times, I thought it prudent that those dealing in stealth remain even closer to one another. How else will you be able to protect Teldrassil and our ways? Find me when you can. Fuhan Shade Whisper, Rogue Trainer. Huh, cool. As far as I know, there's no like super big lore behind the trainers. Hello, Halvphas. I'm glad you found me. I was thinking that perhaps you got lost on the way here. Nothing really new has happened in Shadowglen since I sent you my sigil, but I'll leave all the information gathering to you. Speak to the rest of the people around Eldrassil if you like. Until then, know that our kind are needed more now than ever. We're needed more now than ever. In this tenuous time, peace with the other races can fall at any moment, and there is much talk about members of the Horde looking to sow even greater seeds of distrust. Remember that. As you gain in power and feel more prepared, come back to me and I will see to you about getting some training. It is important you know how to handle your weapon of choice, among other things. Ooh, that's a dirty joke. I'm certain that by now you've mastered using Sinister Strike against your enemies, but as you learn more and advance as a rogue, you'll start to figure out new techniques. One you should figure out soon is called Eviscerate, and it can be a strong way to end a combination of attacks. I want you to get in some more experience, figure it out, and then try it on a training dummy near the southern edge of Halvphas. Sweet. Okay. We're just going to go in here and use these ones. And Eviscerate. Yay. You've learned quickly. You are sharp as you seem. If you are as sharp as you seem to be, you may prove to be one of the best students yet. Okay, sweet. Now, every one of these gives you the same quests. So I'm just going to get it from our rogue trainer. Now that you've practiced your new ability, perhaps you're willing to aid us further in pursuing the corruption haunting Shadowglen. Denantaria Silverglade, Priestess of the Moon, has offered to aid us. You should find her between the two pools just north of our great tree. Circle around the tree to reach her and offer her any help you can, young rogue. Sure thing. Always happy to help out a needing priestess. And yes, the in-between parts are going to be boring and stuff, but I'm going to use the in-between parts when I'm questing to kind of talk about what the lore is in the area, or maybe what, you know, certain things that I feel like the area might have had, or maybe some secrets that I figured out, or anything in that general area. Also, take that time to talk to the chat, if there's anybody in chat who has questions or wants something to talk about. Dentaria Silverglade. It is good you've come. It seems your training progresses quickly. Thank you. Our friend Ithron has fallen to poison from a nearby webwood spires. I can tend to him and keep his state from deteriorating, but I need someone to gather me the gather an ingredient to prepare an antidote. All around the ponds, you should find moon petal lilies. These flowers have great healing properties, and I can use them with the ingredients. I already have to restore him to better health. Would you gather them for me? There should be many just in sight of here, near the water's edge. Yeah, sure. I'll go grab some. Now, she is a priestess of the moon, not to be confused with a priestess of a loon. Priestess of a loon are loyal groups of followers that follow the praise and guidance of Elune, the Earth Mother. You know, it's she's the one that grants Tyrande Whisperwind her powers. She's the one that ensures that the priests of Night Elven culture can heal, and she's also one of the ones that give blessings to the priestesses and priests, as well as the presumed mother of Cenarius. She apparently made it with Melorn, the druid stag god, and apparently Cenarius was born. Ysera, the green dragon aspect, is Cenarius' godmother. Our dear friend is not doing too well, even with my mending. Have you brought the supplies I require? Yes, you are. This will do perfectly. Thank you, Halvphas. Your swiftness is appreciated. I'm just gonna take that. I must ask you something more dangerous of you, though. Strange news has traveled to me through the whisperings of the forest spirits. Mysterious woodland protector, Tarandella, yeah, has returned to Shadow Glen again. The Dryad's presence has not been felt in the forest since before the blessing of Teldrassil. Something is surely amiss if she has journeyed so far back to this land. Seek out Tarandella, rather, in the Shadow Thread Cave to the north. It is dangerous, but you will be prepared with this antidote just in case. Oh, okay. So basically, the reason why this spider venom doesn't affect us when we go into that cave is simply because we've been pre-dosed with the antidote and have, quote-unquote, several vials to assure that we do not receive that horrible, horrible poison. 5. And we'll probably be going assassination on this character. Combat's okay for big pulls, but in dungeons, but I don't think. I really don't feel like that's the best way to do it. Just gathering them up and stuff. And one shot will kill most of the things that we are attacking anyway. Tarandella says, "You've come to help, Rogue? Let us stay together for a while." Some questionably sexual stuff in this. Why is she so low? "I have found you, young night elf. Then Terralo was wise to send you. I had hoped never to return to Teldrassil for such grim business. I hoped that this corruption had been wiped completely away. Something foul lingers. These spiders suffer much more deeply from the corruption than any of the nearby wildlife. They are becoming a danger to your people and a danger to the forest. We must thin their numbers, but more importantly, we need to find the source of corruption that plagues them. I will come with you and aid in this." And our whole objective here is to kill 12 of these, kill 12 of these webwood spiders. Don't need to pick up the venom or anything, just kill them. Achoo! Oh, excuse me. I'm just getting over a cold, so. Do forgive me. Oh man, my eyes water when I sneezed. The corruption of these spiders suffer from is not simply surface deep. It cannot be magic or subtle manifest. It's bred into them. Seems our task is not yet complete. If these spiders are born with corruption in their veins, then their broodmother must be the host of evil. Let us make our way north to the end of the cave and seek out Halvphas the Vile. The answers that we seek lie within her. Yeah, well, I mean, it's a good thing, because, you know, considering we're right here, so how about we just murder the broodmother? This totem has been corrupting the eggs. It seems a greater threat looms. the Gnarlpine remained tainted by something most foul. Githrius and her brood were being corrupted by this totem. This is a Furlbog totem. This is very troubling indeed. This means the Gnarlpine are still a danger to the forest. We let our guard down too soon. I will pursue the trail of Gnarlpine and track their corruption to its source. If you ever encounter Arathandrus Bearmantle and Dolinar, he knows intimately the problems that plague this forest, and he can direct you on how to help further. So, fun fact, Albrithrius, or sorry, Night Elf names suck. Athidrius, Bearmantle, is, I'm presuming, a relation to Brawl Bearmantle, one of the people that, or one of the Night Elf Druid that was with, Varian Rin when he was a gladiator, when he had lost his memory, when he was split in two. I'm sure we'll meet again in time. Perhaps you can aid me in dealing with the source of corruption when I locate it. For now, I will take you back to Dentaria so that she may finish your training. Thank you for all that you have done, Halvphas. Go. Magic and stuff. You've returned. It's good to see you. It seems you've dealt with the source of much of the corruption in Shadowglen. Teldrassil still suffers and will need attention, but we can afford a moment or two to finish your training here in Shadowglen. Very nice. As part of a ritual to complete your training here in Shadowglen, you must learn about our recent history. There is a task you must perform. Go to the Moonwell in our to the northeast and retrieve a vial of its waters. While there, you will witness a glimpse of our magics and learn our past. When you are done there, bring the water back to me and I will direct you further. Sweet. Now these Moonwells actually show and tell what had happened in Warcraft 3, I believe. So if you join Warcraft and you're not familiar with Warcraft 3, Warcraft 3 was the RTS, and the Warcraft series is what inspired World of Warcraft. So they decided to make an MMO out of their RTS, and from there on, we got to this. Much has changed for our people since the Battle of Mount Hyjal. Nordrassil lies a pale shadow of what it once was. Its power used to defeat Archimonde and drive back the Burning Legion. Our immortality, the essence of our beings, was lost. The betrayer was freed from his prison, and Shando Stormrage disappeared into the Emerald Dream. A dark time for all. The shade of the Kel'Thuzad closes its eyes and fades away. And we'll get the crystal vial. So that was basically telling of the world tree. Teldrassil was unfortunately and abruptly sacrificed to an explosion that took out a demon lord known as Archimonde. He is the demon lord that killed Malorn. He's the demon lord that killed Malorn by snapping the Great Stag's neck, and which caused Malfurion and Ysera to go off the deep end for quite some time, and was also one of the things that had unlocked Malfurion's inner potential. When the Great Stag's neck snapped, Malfurion was so angered and so just furious about it that he unleashed a binding root spell that stopped even the giant demon lord Archimonde, and Archimonde was so taken aback by such power that he could not escape the roots and actually had to teleport away by moving his soul to another area. Our recent history is fraught with strife and violence, and there's much more with which we must come to terms with. Well done, Halvphas. You have one task left before you depart Shadowland for the open wilds of Teldrassil. Tenron Stormgrip oversees all that happens in this glade, and he presides atop the Aldrassil. If you look to our south, you will see the underside of the ramp which leads to him. Ascend this ramp and complete your training. It is wonderful to have met you, Halvphas, and I swell with pride knowing that among the young night elves there are some so selfless and full of life as you are. You will do great things for our people. You will do great things for this world. Until we meet again. And I don't think we ever meet her again, but we might. The ramp to Aldrassil is just inside over there. Circle around and find Tenron up top. And there's an interesting conversation probably about halfway up here that I will read to you. When we reach the top of this tower, I'm going to go take a short second to actually go get a big jug of water because the pop is definitely causing me to be a little gassy and I've had several burps. Okay. Dornall Amberleaf says, "Don't get me wrong, I am grateful to have Shando's Storm Rage back, but this is really suspicious. What happened to Fandral?" Morena Dawnlight says, "Shh, someone's here." What these two characters are referring to is that Fandral Staghelm, we mentioned him earlier, is basically, at this point, he was found out to be keeping Malfurion in the dream, the Emerald Dream, there's an old world quest in the original Vanilla WoW, and I believe it was you were gathering some sort of material. It was some sort of herb, and you'd be passing this into Fandral. Fandral was actually using the stuff that the players had given him to keep Malfurion in the dream, which is why Malfurion, for all of Vanilla WoW, was not around, and it was only just Tyrande. Fandral, once he was found out to have been doing this, was abruptly left Night Elf society, and a lot of the Night Elves didn't understand or know why Shando or Malfurion had come back, and then all of a sudden Fandral was gone. It's because he was found out to have been conspiring to keep Malfurion in the dream so he could take over the Night Elf Society, I think. Unfortunately, we don't see anything from him yet until we get to Cata content. Greetings, Rogue. The Moonwells hold the water of the Well of Eternity, the ancient source of magic which has wrought so many horrors upon this world. The Druids take advantage of its properties. The Sentinels revere the wells as shrines of Elune, and now even the returning Highborn look to the wells longingly. So you've heard the first part of the aftermath of the Battle of Mount Hyjal. There is much for you to learn, and the task has begun for you to continue through the rest of your journey through Teldrassil into Darnassus. Okay? While there is more I could speak to you of the Moonwells of Teldrassil, I must send you along. Cortherius Moonrage will be expecting you. I have poured a vial of the water you brought to me into a vessel to bring to him. Seek out Cytherius, or whatever. You will find him at the Moonwell in Dolinar. Find the road south of Yggdrasil to the Shadow Glen, and continue to follow the cobblestones to the end of the road, then turn west. Mind you stay on the road, though, Halvphas. There are dangerous beasts in the forest of late. Cool. Alright. Take with you the blessing of the winds. Embrace it. It may take your descent from Yggdrasil more directly. And, of course, because of that, we can now jump off the side of this lovely building. So I'm just going to get to the road, and then I'm going to go quickly get some water, put into a jug, so we can continue to have some water and keep our throat definitely, hydrated. What was the other thing I was going to say? Greetings, Rogue, Store, and Grip. Oh, that was the other thing. So basically, in Vanilla WoW, there was no such thing as a Night Elf Mage. Now, from Kata on, I believe, Night Elf Mages have been allowed in society. Basically, long time ago, when the Burning Legion had made its way to Azeroth via Queen Ashara and her right hand Xavius. They had worked and made a portal for the Dark Titan Sargeras to actually come to the world of Azeroth, and they were hoping that Sargeras would, or Ashara was hoping rather, that Sargeras would destroy all those who were beneath her, and that she and Sargeras could rule the world together as husband and wife. She had some delusions of grandeur, and perhaps a little touch of Stockholm Syndrome, because I'm pretty sure that it was just a plan for him to get into the world and destroy it. That being said, the whole reason why the mages and people who were using arcane magic were banished from the world was because the Highborn, even though a section of them broke off and fought against their queen, the Highborn as a whole were considered to be very evil, very bad for even attempting to bring Sargeras into the world. When they drove back the demons for the second time, this is the second time this has happened, it was apparent. It was apparent that the users of arcane magic were not so much untrustworthy, but were a dangerous risk, and they had outlawed the use of magic completely. And you gotta understand that Night Elves, Highborn, as they were called back then, their whole society was based on the use of magic. They were introduced to magic at a very early age in their childhood, and it was a part of them. If they didn't use it, they got cravings to use it, and all sorts of things. Basically, what happened at the end, the well imploded. All of the Highborn were told, okay, well, if you guys are gonna stay here, no magic. You cannot use magic. It's forbidden now. Not allowed to use magic. Elden Stormrage, however, Malfurion's brother, basically was like, hey, look, magic is in our blood, so we just lost the Well of Eternity. I have vials of the Well of Eternity. He got to the lake in Mount Hyjal before any other Night Elf did, and actually put the vials into the Lake of Fresh Water. What had happened then? Well, the lake was turned into a second Well of Eternity. And the other couple of vials he had kept. Two of the vials were stolen from Illidan to make the Sunwell for the Blood Elves. When the Highborn moved away from the Night Elves, they split and called themselves Blood Elves for the fact that their kin, or where they lost so many of their kin in some wars and such. So now you have two founts of power. You have the New Well of Eternity and the Sunwell. Because the Night Elves were so scared that the New Well of Eternity would be a beacon of light out into the darkness for Sargeras to find them again, they basically imprisoned Malfurion's brother, Illidan, for betraying the Night Elf Society. They were going to kill him on the spot, but Malfurion begged for all of them to just say, look, calm down, why don't we imprison him? We don't need to kill him, because he's still my brother, right? Like, Malfurion's like, he's still my brother, I gotta look out for him. So, yeah, that's how that went. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit that. That's how that went. And then the Highborn were exiled. Now, recently, the Highborn who didn't become Blood Elves are being let back into society. So they're reintroducing all of these old uses of magic and stuff, because I guess no one cares about the Legion coming after them anymore. With that, when Illidan was imprisoned, Maiev, one of the Watchers, one of the ex-priestesses of Elune, who was kind of jealous that the former priestess of Elune chose Tyrande to be her replacement. So she went and led the Watchers, which are basically Illidan's jailers. Over time, they actually became more of just an elite force within the Night Elves to go take out threats to the Night Elves in society. That's why when Tyrande, the second time the Burning Legion comes around, breaks out Illidan from the cage, there was not more Watchers, because most of them were on a mission to deal with some other crimes and other things that were happening in the Night Elf society at the time. And then Illidan came back. There was a whole bunch of stuff. That's all explained in another story in Felwood, I believe. So we'll come back to that story when we get to Felwood. For now, all we need to know is that the Highborn have come back, and this, in turn, has pissed off Maiev, because Maiev spent her entire time watching Illidan, making sure that he was, never to be free. The whole reason was because he was a big user of arcane magic. They had just gotten done having a demon invasion. Maiev had lost so much of her life to guarding Illidan, and then Tyrande just comes in, breaks out Illidan. He's free now, and if that wasn't a pisser, years later, they decide to let the Highborn back in. And as someone who has spent most of her life holding someone who uses arcane magic prisoner for the use of arcane magic, what do you think she felt like? She kind of felt like, okay, whoa. Why are we letting the Highborn back in? They're not supposed to be here. Arcane magic's bad. So that led her in turn to want to try to kill all the Highborn. So there was several murders of recently I worded that wrong. There were recent murders of Highborn in Darnassus, and Maiev was like, oh no, I'll find the killer. Don't worry, guys, I'll find the killer. And then basically it was Maiev who was doing the killing. Her brother found out, scared her away, and no one has seen her since. Now she's going to be a big player in Legion because, as the Demon Hunters, we're being held in the Warden's area to where she holds the warden's prison. And we're going to be interacting with her Watchers and maybe her when Legion comes around, when you're a Demon Hunter. That's a big, long story because all these things just connect. One thing happens and the next thing. But Maiev was pissed that the Highborn were back. She started killing the Highborn. She wanted to assassinate Malfurion because he was finding out that it was her. Whole bunch of stuff happened. Jared Shadowsong, her brother, scares her away. It's still his sister. He couldn't find it in his heart to kill her or take out justice upon her. So she just kind of went away and swore vengeance against all the Night Elves. And, like I said, we'll see her in Legion. Probably quite a bit of her, maybe as a quest antagonist or perhaps a raid boss at some point. Or dungeon boss, maybe. That could be possible. So, yeah. Alright, I'm going to go take a short break. Really quick to rest the voice. And get some actual water here. And we'll be back just in a little bit. So I hope you guys will stay patient. And I'll restart